Hello, I'm here during the lunch rush with Janice, who owns her own food truck.
Best cheesesteaks in town.
Janice traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance for her food truck business. We're here where she needs us most.
They sure are.
We make it so easy for her to save, with customised coverage that grows with her business. Sorry, I just get so emotional talking about saving folks money.
Not this onion I'm chopping?
It's just so beautiful. Oh yeah, no, it's the onion.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. Get more with Geico.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Motherhood. 1 minute, you're mom of the year.
I love you, Mommy.
Then the next, not so much. From bath time to bullying, from potty training to puberty, parenting is full of challenges. But one thing is for certain, you are not alone. Welcome to Modern Mom Probs. I'm your host, author, mother, parenting expert, Tara Clark. Join me while we tackle today's modern mom problems. Welcome back to another episode of Modern Mom Probs. I'm your girl, Tara. Today's topic is bravery. I am joined by, this is such a real treat. I am joined by Katherine Schwarzenegger Pratt. She is an author, an animal advocate, and a mom of 3. She has a new book out called, it's a children's book. It's called Cat and Brandy. It is based on her real life pony growing up. This story is about when you fall off the horse, you get right back on, literally and figuratively. Katherine and I are going to talk about all things motherhood, bravery, this beautiful heartfelt story, and modern mom probs. So without further ado, Katherine Schwarzenegger Pratt, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited that you're here. As right before I hit record, I was mentioning that I've been such a fan of yours for so many years. And on your Instagram lives, you always have the best guests. And some of the guests that you've had on your Instagram lives, I've had on the podcast as well. So we know a lot of the same people.
I love that. It's so fun. I was saying that the mom community is like it's such an amazing one and one that I feel like runs deep. So I love hearing that, that we have a lot of the same guests on. So
yeah, we know a lot of the same people, which I love. And I like to think that the mom community, as you said, like is a pretty tight knit community as far as the folks and the authors and the experts and all of that kind of stuff. So I think it's amazing. So I've been such a fan of yours. How long have you been running that series?
Almost 5 years, because my oldest daughter is 5 years old and I started doing it right after she was born. We were in like the thick of the lockdown of the pandemic and I was definitely very lonely and like trying to find some community in this, new motherhood chapter that I was starting out in. And so I was like, I found myself going to so many different accounts and websites and group texts and, people. And so I decided to start BDA Baby before, during, and after baby, just to have one place where I could like find conversations and also hear from experts about all of these subjects from, pelvic floor therapy to freezing your eggs, to breastfeeding, to sex after baby, to, sleepless nights and sleep schedules and baby-led weaning, like all the different subjects. So it's, I'm like still learning so much because I've been able to do this BDA Baby podcast. It's now a podcast, but I've been able to do it through, all 3 of my kids, like being pregnant, postpartum, the whole thing. So it's been wild to do it.
It's wild. I love that. It's funny that you say that because I started my not only Instagram account, but the podcast because I also wanted to talk to experts, and you want to like learn more and hear firsthand. So it's amazing how industrious people can be when they want to get that information for themselves and then obviously share it with others.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's amazing. I mean, I think with like, so much comes from just people having a need for something and a desire to have a community or something that they feel lacks. And then they're able to, create it on their own, which is incredible. And so, yeah, I feel really lucky to be able to do it. And then also to still be able to do it and be learning so much all the time. Like, I love that it just never ends.
Yeah, no, that's the best. I mean, like learning never ends, right? And you're such a busy woman. You have yet another new book out.
Oh, yes.
It's adorable. Kat and Brandy. Love, love, love. Tell me all about it. What inspired it? It's the story of your own childhood pony, right?
Yeah. It's funny because this is my third children's book that I've done and my second children's book since becoming a parent. And I feel like I've learned so much about the children's book space since I spend so much of my time reading with my kids, and they love books. They love storytelling. And so it was a really great experience to be able to have them as like my test group with this book in particular. But yeah, I mean, this book it's called Kat and Brandy, and it's based off of my own experience with my best friend growing up that happened to be a horse, and my experience working through fears. And it was important to me to tell a story that really shined a light on the incredible healing power of animals and what a gift that is, animals of all shapes and sizes, and also to tell a story about overcoming your fears and bravery and courage. And I have, two young girls and also a baby and a stepson, but my two little girls are now, they're 3 and 5. And so to watch them interact with animals and also to work through fears and have conversation around fears is such a important part of this chapter that I'm in with them and in motherhood. And so I wanted to write a book that talked about overcoming fears and talked about being brave, and also, kept in mind the conversations that parents and caregivers will have with the kids that they're reading to during this book and then after they're done with this book, because I think it's such a cool thing to be able to have a lot of these conversations come up naturally after reading a book to your kids. So
yeah, it's gorgeous. It's illustrated beautifully.
You.
Petra Brown was your illustrator. She's incredible.
It was such a dream. Yeah, it was a dream to be able to work with Petra Brown because I, again, as I mentioned, like I spend a lot of time reading books with my kids, and I saw the way that they would read books that she'd illustrated in the past, and they just were like enamored by her illustrations, and she does such a beautiful job. And so it was like a dream for me to be able to work with her. And I'm so grateful that she had the time to do this book because she draws, animals so beautifully. She drew the horses so beautifully. And then also just like nature and also the human characters as well. And, I just have such amazing memories reading children's books myself growing up, where I really just got lost in the images. Like I would daydream about the images and just like think about them all the time. So to be able to work with her and see how my kids have responded to her illustrations was really exciting and such a gift.
Yeah, absolutely. She has a very dreamy sort of aesthetic.
Totally.
And there are parts like in the story where she is illustrating dreams where Kat's sort of laying in bed thinking about Brandy. And so it's very dreamy. I love it. I just absolutely, I love it. What did the girls think when you read it to them?
Of course they're like, is this real? Is this you? They're like, ask, because I spend my kids are, I really loved the way that my siblings and I grew up with being outdoors, getting to be creative, allowing kids to be bored and letting their mind wander. And so for my husband and I, it's really important for our kids to be able to have that, that experience as well of being outside in nature, and also just hearing stories, using their imagination to think of different things and tell stories on their own. And so I spend a lot of time telling stories of my own childhood to like keep them entertained. And it really came from like me telling my kids the story of, me meeting Brandy, this pony that, I just happened to meet one day when I was at the barn, and that she had this scar on her face that was very like interesting to me growing up, and sparked curiosity in me to want to learn more about her and her past and her story. And also understanding that she was not the friendliest horse, and, was really head shy and really timid and very afraid of people. And I kind of came into it being afraid on my own, of being afraid, of my own experience, being around horses. And so I worked through that, and I told this story to my kids as like a trial run. And then, and I was like, oh, they really like it. They want to hear it more and more. And so that's how the story kind of came to be. And there's my neighbor's having some gardening work done, if you can hear that.
Trust me, that is the story of my life. Luckily today it's kind of rainy here in New York. It's like, I don't know, kind of rainy, but story of my life. Yes. Great. I totally understand.
Great. Well, it's a pause, but anyway,
Cool.
I told my kids this story on my own, and then saw that they loved it so much. And that also it led to really like natural and organic conversations about what it means to be afraid of something and how we deal with that as kids and also as grown-ups. And so I had so many amazing conversations that came from that, and wanted to turn it into a book to kind of shine a light on that, because it's really helped with the conversation of like how we work through things, because kids come up with things that they're afraid of, as we do as adults as well, all the time. So, having conversation like, how do you tap into bravery? How do you work through something that you're afraid of? How do you, muster up courage to try something again after you, stumble and have to kind of, so to speak, get back up on the pony again. So yeah, it's been fun.
Like literally, I read the book and it struck a chord with me because I'm not afraid of a lot of things, Katherine. I'm not. I'm a very brave woman. One thing that I am so afraid of is horseback riding. And I've done it many times I've done it in Wyoming. I've done it in Argentina. I've done it like all over the place. And every time I do it, I'm like white knuckling it. I'm like crying. I'm like, ayúdame, ayúdame. I'm like, this is not my finest moment. And as I was reading the book, thinking about this adorable little girl, Kat, and this beautiful pony, Brandy, I was like, see, Kat could get back on the horse and she could do it. I'm a 40-year-old lady. I should be able to get back up on the horse and do it without tears.
I know. It's funny. I mean, listen, I look at horseback riding as a mom, I look at it as a totally different activity to do. Like I was growing up, like after I worked through, my fears and just like really clicked with my experience of horseback riding, I was so fearless. Like I look back and I'm like, I was thrown off constantly. I was, my mom always made me get right back on the horse, even if I was like hysterically crying, in like a very loving and of course nurturing way. Mm-hmm. And, I would, jump really high jumps, and I would get on really wild horses, and just like, I felt it gave me a level of confidence that I don't think I could have gotten anywhere else. And it also really allowed me, growing up in LA as a young woman, to have a life that was completely separate from high school and separate from my family, and really allowed me to have this world at the barn that was around animals and around horse people. That was such a huge blessing for me to have. And now horseback riding as a mother, I'm like, we're not going to do, it's like, you have like my kids come to the barn with me and they watch me. So I'm like, we're not going to do anything risky. We're not going to, you feel differently about it as a parent which I guess comes with like everything. It's like, I drive my car and I'm like, Okay. We're going to be extra.
35 miles an hour.
You
Make
just
sure everyone's strapped in.
Yeah. You look at things so differently as a parent. And I mean, it's a wild experience, but I think everybody has, there are things that make them nervous and that make them take a minute and take a beat. And it's also okay to be afraid of something. I think it's just like, especially with kids, it's not allowing those fears to paralyze them and even us as adults, like not allowing fears or things that make us nervous to paralyze us from moving forward in life. Like if you're terrified of a horse, you don't have to force yourself to get up on a horse, but it's also like, how do you look at the bigger picture and say, like, how do I work through and navigate when I'm afraid of something and work through that so it doesn't just, sit in like debilitating fear.
Yeah, it's such beautiful advice, Katherine. It really is. There's so much advice like in this book, and people would think like, oh, it's a children's book. There's like a certain level of simplicity with that. And there is, but in this book, you obviously talk about bravery, you talk about kindness, you talk about empathy. Like there is a lot of feeling and emotions in this story.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because as I'm like having a lot of these conversations about this book and then also just like reflecting on my own experience, I've always loved animals. I've always been an animal lover. And I've also always been very vocal about the healing power of animals and just, obviously there's a huge space of therapy animals and emotional support animals and equine therapy. And animals just have this ability, it could be a fish, it could be a hamster, a rabbit, a horse, a dog, a cat, whatever. But animals just have this healing energy that when you're in the presence of them, like they don't care what you do for work. They don't care how much money you make. They don't care about anything except for how you're showing up in their presence. And they love you unconditionally and they accept you for who you are. And they also hold you accountable for who you are and the energy that you bring around them. And so I think that that's such a huge gift to be able to have in the lives of children and adults. And I'm also like very aware that, people are able to be or not able to be in the presence of animals at a variety of different moments in their lives, and getting out in nature and having conversations with your kids, having a shared activity. This book also, I wrote this book about a mother and a daughter's experience with horseback riding, but it's also to really celebrate having a shared activity with your child out in nature. That could be bike riding, hiking, whatever that is. But it's, those conversations also come from having those shared activities that, you have with your child, and that you're out in nature doing things, climbing a tree that makes you scared or hiking up a big hill that you might be afraid of. But I mean, animals for me have really been such a huge gift. And I look back and I'm like, I think I just did natural equine therapy my whole life.
Yeah, you totally did. You totally did.
Because I found myself so often just like sitting in my horse's stall, doing my homework, or, crying about a drama from school, or, sitting and being like daydreaming about my first crush. Like I just had so many amazing moments that I was in the presence of a horse and an animal. And I think that like really gave me such a level of calm and peace that I don't think I could get without being in the presence of an animal.
That completely makes sense. We have 3 cats at home, and my son likes to say that he has feline therapy. So it's a thing. It's a thing.
Real, it's really like, it is also incredible for people to understand that, like, yes, there's equine therapy, but there's also like dog therapy, cat therapy, donkey therapy, chicken therapy. We have chickens as of this year. I never thought that I would have chickens in my life, but we do. And they're great. But it's, one of my daughters was having like a meltdown recently about, her sister took a toy from her or something. And we went outside and just like sat with the chickens, and she was sitting there and holding a chicken on her lap and like petting the chicken, and then like pulling the wing out and just like touching the wing. And I was like, this is like she's doing natural animal therapy, just being in like the presence of, you know, an animal. And it was just like so calming for her and also really beautiful for me to see as a parent. And animals are just like, you know, they're so special. They're incredible animals.
They're wonderful. They're wonderful. We have a lot of deer where we live. And so every time we're driving our car, like right now, all of the baby deer are out with their mommy deer and we love it. We are just like soaking it in as much as possible. Yeah. We're very lucky to be able to sort of just like be in their presence, even if we're walking around the block or just riding our bikes or something. There's just like deer everywhere and it's wonderful. We love it. I'm going to ask you a question that I ask all of my guests and I'm super curious to see what your answer is. What do you think is the biggest modern mom problem today?
Where do I begin? The biggest modern mom problem today. I might say this just very confusing idea that we can do it all. Like the pressure to do it all. And then I also would say, in addition to that, the kindness factor not being emphasized enough. I think we live in a world where social media is a blessing and it's a curse because people are so quick to judge and be critical. And also you can find community, like I've found, you know, especially during COVID, that I would not have been able to have had I not had social media. But I think just like moms feel so much pressure to just do it all the time. And I know that that's always been a feeling that generations have always felt pressures to do certain things. But like when people say to me, how do you balance it all? I'm like, I don't balance it all. There's no such thing as balancing it all. I have seasons in my life where I have, like right now, like I have a lot going on in my work bucket as I launch this book. And then I have seasons in my life where I'm able to spend more time with my friends and doing things that are, you know, fun outside of work. And for me, my number one priority is always my children and my family. And also there are many times and days where I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to make drop off and pick up and this activity and that activity, and also be able to show up 100% at work or show up 100% in my marriage or show up 100% as a friend or a sister or a daughter. Like, it's okay to not balance it all. So I feel like the biggest problem is just like an unrealistic expectation that we can do it all perfectly all the time, because we can, and that's okay.
Yeah. And that's okay. And that's what we're here talking about, so that other people can understand that it's all right. Sometimes that's just the way it has to be.
Yeah. It's also like freeing if you can just accept that. Like, it's like, you know, you can't give 100% of yourself in all the different roles that you have or areas that you wish that you could, and being okay with that. I also like the idea of being able to look at different seasons and chapters of your life as flowing with where you can plant more of your time or your energy in all the different roles that you have in your life.
Beautifully said. You are so incredible, Katherine. I have to say, you're multi-talented. Like, not only like are you writing children's books, you're so insightful about parenting, like just like all around. Like, will you be my new best friend? Because like you have all of the parenting stuff down.
I mean, listen, for me, I spend a lot of my time trying to be present with my children, and then also spending time learning about parenting, which I'm able to do. And, you know, like you are with what we do for work, like we're allowed to have conversations with people where we can ask questions about different parenting, you know, struggles or concepts or, you know, topics that we learn about and we want to know more about, and be able to have conversations around them. So I love always learning about parenting, learning how I can be better, how I can learn more. And I think that's a huge blessing to be able to have. And then also the mom group that you have is also such a huge, absolute key to your motherhood journey, because it's like you can ask your friends for advice and talk to them about certain things or certain things that are driving you crazy and whatever parenting chapter you're in. And I would say like also when people say to me like, oh, you seem like you really have this specific thing down. I'm like, I talked to my mom for about 100 hours about this before I executed it. So just know that like I tapped into the well of Maria's knowledge before I put this into effect. And then I did it. So
I love that. I would trust her beyond anyone else. Like she's the standard.
Yeah. She is like, I mean, I'm so lucky to be able to ask her about everything. And I know I like sometimes inundate her with so many questions, but I'm just like, how did you do that? How did you do this? Hey, this came up today. Like, how did you do that? So and it's also funny because like my friends do the same thing with her. They're like, Maria, can I talk to you? We're like at music class and they're like, can I talk to you about like, what did you do about sports? Like after school activities? Like, how did you schedule that? I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, she's a well of knowledge. She needs to write a parenting guidebook because I'm just like, how did you do it?
She should. That would be a bestseller. Tell her, hook that up.
I know. But it's like, where does she have the time to do that right now?
Well, that's the other thing too, right? Yeah. She's super busy as she is.
I know. All the time.
I love that. Katherine, where could we buy your new book? Tell everyone all the things.
Well, I mean, you can follow me on Instagram, which is where I'm, posting most about the book and also and BDA Baby, which I love having conversations about, but also just about the book tour. Cause I'm calling this like my book tour Mom of 3 edition, because it's like ever evolving, ever changing. We're, making it work and also keeping in mind that this looks very different than book tours I've done in the past. So it's fun and I'm, taking it in as we go. And then where to get the book. It comes out November 4th. It's out at, in your local bookstore. I love, of course, the convenience of being able to order online is amazing from a bookstore. And then also, supporting your local bookstores is very important to me. And I love being able to shop local, buy from your local bookstore. So if you're able to do that, that's great. If you're not able to do it, buying it online, whether it's Barnes and Noble or Amazon or anything like that is also an easy thing to do as well. So I
love it. Well, if your book tour happens to have a stop in New York City, give me a call. I'll be there.
I will be coming to New York City. I'm doing a couple days in New York City. So awesome. We just shared a couple different events that we're going to be doing in New York. And you can go to KatherineSchwarzenegger.com for anybody who wants to attend any of the New York events and get tickets to it. But I'm really excited. I always do my first stop in New York. So yay! I'll be there.
Love it. I love it. Everyone go buy the book. Follow Katherine. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Modern Mom Probs. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive in today's problem with me, your host, Tara Clark. Join me next time when I'll be interviewing another great guest and tackling another modern mom problem. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review and a rating. As always, you could head over to Modern Mom Probs on Instagram and give me a follow, or check out my book, Modern Mom Probs, A Survival Guide for 21st Century Mothers, available online wherever books are sold. Well, that's it for today. See you next time, folks.